Okay, thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, you all have switched to, for all the YouTube streamers, switch to the PM2 session. We're now going to deal with item 23, 5325 Lawrence Avenue East. Can we deal with them together? Okay, all right. So we're going to deal with the two items together, actually, item 23 and 24, 5325 Lawrence Avenue East. It's the same applicant and pretty much all the same speakers, as I can tell. Yes, everything is the same. So I'll do a quick name call, and then so that everybody who has to speak can get in their place. Vivian May and Stephen Kosiewski, Althea Fernandez, Alexander Fernandez, and Joan Flanagan. So all of you, please get ready if you wish to speak. Can we start with Randall, please? Randall Dickey, he's the agent or the applicant on the application. Can we please have Randall? Thank you. Randall, you with us?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of committee. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much, Randall. So Randall, would you like to make a presentation, or would you start with the questions?
Yes, I'd like to make a short presentation if I could, and then obviously we'll get into a number of questions.
Sure. So your time starts now, and you have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Randall Dickey. I am the authorized agent for the property owners of two properties, 5323 and 5325 Lawrence Avenue East. This proposal involves these two original subdivision lots from Lawrence Avenue and Centennial Road area. These are very large lots with direct frontage on Lawrence. These lots have 75 feet of frontage and they're each 200 feet deep. The proposal before committee today is to demolish the two existing dwellings and create a total of 4 new lots from the existing 2. Therefore, there's 2 consents before committee and 4 variances, 1 for each of the proposed lots. I'd like to speak for a minute just about the zoning that currently exists on this property. The current requirement in the zoning bylaw is 21 meters for lot frontage and 715 meters squared for lot area. These standards apply to, as I said, the original subdivision lots on Lawrence and then down Centennial Road. Immediately to the west of the site, there is Tread Valley Grove, and it has slightly different zoning standards. They require frontages of 16.5 meters and lot areas of 557 meters squared. So the subject site has got one zoning, but I just want to make the distinction that the zoning on Tread Valley Grove has slightly different numbers for lot frontage and lot area. Parcels 1, 2, and 3 would each have direct frontage on Lawrence Avenue. They're proposed to have 15 meters or 50-foot frontages, 39 meters or 128-foot lot depths, and lot areas of 595 meters squared or approximately 6,400 square feet. Each lot is able to accommodate a single detached dwelling and with integral garage. And I would point out that these building placements are just for conceptual purposes at this time. We're not proposing these dwellings, and there are no variances before the committee dealing with the proposed dwellings. Variances required to create the 3 lots on Lawrence are required for lot frontage and lot area. But it is my opinion that 15 meter or 50-foot frontage on Lawrence Avenue and a 6,400 square foot lot area is more than sufficient on a major street in Toronto to accommodate a single detached dwelling. Parcel 4 is the 4th lot. That is proposed to have a lot width of 16.9 meters or 55 feet and a lot area of 771 meters squared. This lot would have access to Tread Valley Grove. We will require access to Tread Valley Grove and will require the cutting of some trees along the existing property line. I do not expect that all those trees will need to be cut. I do note that one has already been removed by the city forces due to poor health. That was cut this past summer or fall. That was done by the city and certainly not by my clients. Parcel number 4 requires one variance, and that is to permit the lot frontage of 16.9 meters or 55 feet, whereas the bylaw requires 21. But as I've noted, the zoning requirement for lot frontage on Tread Valley is 16.9. So what we're proposing with parcel 4 is a lot width that is consistent and very much in keeping with the character of Tread Valley. It does comply with the lot area requirements of the zoning bylaw. I'd like to just quickly talk about the city comments that I've received to date. So these applications were filed in July of 2021. Since that time, it's been reviewed by various different departments. City planning has indicated no objection. City engineering, or ECS, has a number of comments. We have already made some of those adjustments dealing with the proposed width of the road widening. So they've already been revised on the plan that's before you. City ECS department has conditions which we agree to and have no objection. Finally, City Forestry unfortunately replied very late in the process. I have a memo dated January the 4th of 2021, but I'm pretty sure it means January the 4th of 2022. So it recommends denial of parcels 1 and 4. I'm assuming because of the impact to the trees. However, it does note that if the committee does approve it, there are 2 recommended conditions. Obviously, we do not agree with forestry. It is our position that the consents should be given provisional approval, but I have no difficulty agreeing to those forestry conditions. Because of the short amount of time that we've had since forestry issued their comments, I have not been able to really sit down with forestry. However, once I got this memo, I did reply by email directly to forestry and say that we're willing to sit down and talk about changes. And I would just state, for example, the driveway on parcel 1, which is at the northwest corner, that could certainly be relocated to the west side. That's where the driveway is right now. And I see that staff are trying to. So parcel 1 is the northwest corner. We had just arbitrarily shown it on the east side, typically trying to pair it up with the driveway immediately to the east of that. However, if that requires the loss of a tree that forestry wants to keep, then we're more than willing to sit down with forestry and flip that building, keep the driveway where it is, and try to preserve that tree. Likewise, with respect to parcel 4, which is the lot that would propose to have access to Tread Valley Grove, we are open to redesigning that driveway, the location, the width, the materials, to reduce the impact on those trees. It is not my client's intent to remove all those trees. We're more than willing to sit down with forestry and have that discussion. So in conclusion, I know my time is running out.
Yeah,
It's
you need
my
to wrap
opinion
up your
that
comments, that your time's up.
okay, I am. So in conclusion, I think that a provisional consent, and that's all we're asking for here right now, this proposal is reasonable, and I think it meets the city planning objectives. It's a very gentle intensification of the property. It makes efficient use of the roads and the services. Both city planning and engineering have no objection. I'm okay with the conditions recommended by ECS and forestry. And I would ask that provisional consent be granted by this committee, and that would allow me 1 year to sit down with forestry to try and work out any conditions along with the ECS conditions. So I know my time is up, and I'm sure we're going to have discussion. So at this point, I'd just like to say I would be pleased to try to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Randall. And members of the committee, questions? Member Macaulay.
Chair. And Randall, I just want clarification and confirmation from you that you are looking at saving the trees as much as you can when you create those new lots, but that the lines, the proposed property lines do not impact or negatively affect the saving of those trees.
Through you, Madam Chair, that is correct. We have prepared and submitted an arborist report. All of the existing trees are noted on this plan. We will do what we can to building footprints, driveway locations, to minimize impact on trees. And yes, finally, the proposed lot lines do not dissect or impact any of the existing trees on the property.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Macaulay. That was a good question for clarification as well. Okay, if there are no further questions of the committee, can we move on and speak with our members of the community? First, Vivian May and Stephen Kosiewski.
Hello.
Hello, Vivian.
Hi there.
Hi. So, Vivian, you have 5 minutes and your time starts now.
Okay. My main comments are, I outlined in the letter to you, a lot of flooding. We experienced a lot of flooding on our lot that's directly related to 5323 Lawrence. And we have runoff that comes down through the back of that lot onto our property and floods our garage and down onto the driveway. So a lot of the concerns that we have with regards to the severing of the property is with regards to the landscaping, the runoff, and what could potentially happen with whatever construction occurs there. We do have concerns about the trees because they're right next to us, the 4 or the 3 that we're talking about next to our lot have been part of the nature of this street for probably 100 years, I think. I don't really know, but it was from the Treadway family. So I think they planted them many, many years ago, and they're integral to the heritage of our street, I think. And a lot of people here comment on how much they enjoy those trees. So that's an issue for us. Another issue is the loss of parking, because it's we call that, it's a circle, it's a circular street. We don't have a lot of parking, and we do have a lot of overflow of parking in general on our street. And with the addition of one more driveway, that's going to cause even more parking issues. We do have a lot of people coming in and parking on Tread Valley to do work at the pumping station across the street. And sometimes we just can't even park on our own street. Also, now I understand that you're not proposing what the buildings are going to look like, but we don't really have an idea what the houses will look like, how big they are, how small, or anything. So that would be part of our concern as well. Yeah. Those are my
Okay.
comments.
Okay. Thanks, Vivian. So there's no houses being proposed, as mentioned by the applicant.
Right.
The purpose of showing those houses to generally demonstrate that, potentially the houses will be built in similar fashion. But when it does come in, if they do need any variance, you will see them through this process. If they do not need variances, which means that they meet with all the requirements of the zoning bylaw, they will go straight into the building permit process. I would suggest that, you speak with the neighbor and, or the applicant and see if you can establish some connections and for future communications on how you would be able to see the house plans that will be built. But at this point in time, we're only dealing with creation of the lots. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very
Can I
much.
jump in here?
Yeah, please.
Last meeting.
Who's this?
My name's Stephen Kachowski. My mic has just gone out on my laptop.
Okay.
May I be allowed to speak?
Yes, you have
Madam-
signed up, so you
Madam
can
Chair?
speak. No?
Members of the committee? Very good. Thank you very much.
Just a second,
I'm
just
a
a
Master of
second.
Disaster and Emergency Management.
Stephen, just a second. I have clarification from,
Through the chair, I guess I guess the speakers have not used up their full allotted
oh,
5 minutes. I think it was about, it's about a minute and a half left.
okay. Thank you. So staff has advised me you have a couple of minutes left, so if you can use that time to let us know of your comments.
Very quickly, what our major concern is groundwater and groundwater flooding. Reduction of permeable soil due to construction may lead to the surface runoff flooding. And data has supported the increase in weather events, and the application may be used for housing already at risk for flooding, as it is on a watershed already into Highland Creek and Stevenson Swamp, and there is no water mitigation strategy. There are many underground creeks running through the Highland Creek watershed, and this request requires a hydraulic survey, of course. There's flooding and mitigation strategies that have not been proposed in any way, shape, or form. The reduced lot sizes and soft landscaping and the inability to absorb rainwater and snow water melt-off runoff, along with climate change and increased frequency in weather-related events. We're looking at mitigation construction technologies, which will not happen or occur there. The buildings have not been given a square footage in comparison to the lot size. Actually, the removal of one of the trees, it's quite possible that there's a large bat colony that controls the insect population and improves the environment in this neighborhood. So that's of significant impact. And also, if you're aware or not, the artificial intelligence or the actuaries for the insurance company have already advised us that due to this application, our flood insurance is now going up in price.
Because of this application? Okay.
Please note the coverage will continue to be included on your policy. However, you'll be required to pay an additional $130 per year for flood protection.
Okay, so sir,
And
I can't help you with the policies or
Yes,
insurances.
but these houses are above grade.
Okay, so first of all, stormwater management, runoffs, drainage is certainly something that the city's building department can help you with. Unfortunately, that's not under under our jurisdiction of this committee, so I won't be able to help you. As a general practice, the rule is that any new development shall be self-contained in terms of runoff or stormwater management, and that it would have no adverse impact on adjacent properties. So through the building permit process, I'm assuming that the appropriate studies and drawings will be required that would confirm that there's no adverse impacts on adjacent properties. So I can give you that information, but in terms of the specifics of it, you'll have to contact either the applicant or the owners of the builders or the building department to get information on details if you're looking for drainage or stormwater runoff on these properties. At this point, we're dealing with creation of these lots and the associated minor variances for the lot frontage and the lot area. Any future houses that would go on these properties would be going through a separate process. If they don't require any variances, they'll go straight to a building permit. If they require variances, they'll come back to us. But at this point, we can't really confirm that. We're looking at the consent application strictly. Okay, and in terms of the trees, I'm going to leave it with Randall to explain what trees or more clarification on that. But I must say that they are going to be working closely with the urban forestry department to ensure that whatever needs to be preserved is preserved. Okay, thank you very much for Vivian and Stephen for taking the time to talk to us. The next speaker on the list is Althea. Okay, Althea, you're with us?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you. So thank you so much for the clarification in regards to the properties. That was definitely my concern, similar to some of my neighbors in terms of the aesthetic and the property in itself. The other concerns I would like to add is just in terms of we live on a street with a busy fire station, and there is a part of concern of how the increased traffic in the area will affect, you know, safety concerns, and also access or impeded by the construction. Um, that would be the only thing I would add in terms of my concerns at this point. And in addition, um, just in terms of all of us are working from home right now, and so just the impact of construction. But from what I'm hearing, that doesn't sound like that is of what this committee addresses. But those are my concerns that I'd like to add.
That is correct, Althea. Unfortunately, I can't help you with that in terms of construction matters or noise matters. You'll have to speak to the right department to be able to obtain information. There's definitely regulations and rules around noises and construction timings and duration during which work can happen. Feel free to contact the city and get more information of that, but we can't help you today on those issues.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much and for your time today. So we're going to go to our next speaker, Alexander Fernandez. Alexander, you with us?
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you for allowing me to speak. Just a couple of things I needed to know is it says minor changes, but if you're going to demolish 2 plots and going to make it 4, is that minor?
So
So that is
that's
one.
so
Yeah.
that's not a minor change. We're talking about 2 different types of applications here. One is a consent application, which is a severance or the creation of lots application. So your example, take 2 lots, divide it into 4, that's the consent application, okay? So that does not relate to a minor change. The minor change relates
Okay.
to the minor variance application, which is the lot frontage and the lot areas of the proposed lots. And that is under the
Okay.
purview of the minor variance application.
Okay. So once this the 4 plots are being developed in there, then the frontage of that, would that match the community area?
So,
What I mean by that is the houses that are going to be built in future, are they going to be different from what the whole layout of this area is?
so I can't speak to how different or how similar they will look, but what I can tell you is that whatever development would occur on these lots in terms of houses going on these lots in the future, should the lots be created, they would have to conform with the zoning bylaw regulations. Okay? So, which means whatever rights are available to all the property owners in the area, the same rights will be available to these property owners, and they will have to build in accordance with the zoning bylaw. So, whether everything's going to look like the same at the end of the day, I'm not sure, but they'll have to, they will be permitted to build a single detached dwelling on it. That would have to comply with the zoning bylaw regulations in terms of heights and sizes and setbacks
Yeah,
and whatnot.
yeah. And then the other thing is when they are building the thing, uh, how is it going to be maintained? Because this is a main road. It's going to be very difficult for us to move around and,
So you mean during
because
construction?
during construction again.
Oh, okay. So again, Alexander, I can't help you with that. I'm sure this will not be the first time things are being built. There's appropriate construction management plans and construction requirements. And you could, at that time, once construction begins, they'll have to comply with the construction management requirements of those houses to be built. If there are concerns or if there's issues or, if you're finding it difficult, you can certainly contact the city and get some assistance there.
Okay, okay,
Okay?
very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. On that note, we're going to move to speak with our next staff person, Joan. Okay. So Joan Flanagan is not available. So we'll go back to Randall now. Randall,
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm
Yes,
here.
Randall, so you heard the comments, and I tried to clarify a few fact-based questions, but application-related questions, I'm going to defer to you, please.
Yes, thank you. I'll do the best I can. So you're quite right. This proposal is for the consents for the land severances. What has been shown with this conceptual house siting plan is how 4 lots dwelling, single detached dwellings might be constructed on the property. What is shown here today are dwellings that are in full compliance with the zoning standards for setbacks, height, parking, stall, garages, etc., rear yard setbacks. I do expect that this concept would change because we're going to have to relocate some driveways to preserve trees, etc. But this is to schematically show 4 quality single detached dwellings that could be permitted as of right, subject to the consent being granted. But this would comply with the current zoning bylaw in terms of the dwelling restrictions. And finally, I would also just confirm the comments that you've made that we've got a lot of work to deal with ECS engineering and forestry to deal with technical matters, other matters such as flooding, lot grading, construction management. Those are all details that happen much later in the process, and obviously we will comply with all city requirements. That's it. I'd be pleased to try to answer any other further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall. That was helpful. Okay, members of the committee. Any questions for Randall? Okay, I see none. All right. Thank you, Randall. We will take the matter into committee now. Committee members, if there are no further questions, comments. Are you ready for a motion or with a motion? Member Macaulay. Oh, Colin, before Member Macaulay, just give me a moment.
Through the chair, should, you've heard from the applicant that they are willing to address the relocating the driveways to address the urban forestry comments. We do have some revised urban forestry conditions. Should the committee wish to approve the application, we will just show it on a screen. It just includes a new condition number 1. You may wish to review this with the applicant if they are okay with this condition. Should the committee wish to approve the applications today?
Thank you, Deputy Secretary Treasurer. Can we have Randall back for a moment? Randall?
Yes.
So what you see on the screen are staff recommended conditions, some tweaking to the urban forestry. I guess it's based on your willingness or your discussion with urban forestry regarding redesigning of the proposed driveways. Is this something that you're agreeable to? Should the committee put this as a condition?
I'm just reading it. It's just condition 1 that seems to be added.
That
I'm
is correct.
assuming 2 and 3 were the previous ones. Then yes, I agree with the intent of condition number 1. It
Okay.
is our intent to work with forestry to minimize the impact on the trees. So
Okay.
yes, I would have no objection to that.
Perfect. Okay, that's very helpful. So yes, you're absolutely right. Conditions 1 and 2 remain the same as in previous memo. It's just adding the condition number 1 to reflect the intent that you have to work with urban forestry to tweak the design. Okay. Since we have that confirmation now, I'm back to the committee. So committee members. Yes, Member Macaulay.
I just want a clarification from staff as to whether we can deal with item 23 and 24 together, dealing with all the consents for all 4 lots.
Through the chair, if you wish, you can deal with all of the applications together, because they will all, if they all have the same conditions, you can deal with them together.
Like even the minor variance applications?
Well, actually, my suggestion would be deal with the consent applications first, the two consent applications together, and then the other minor variance applications, deal with those as a set. So split them up between consents and minor variances.
Okay, so maybe Member Macaulay, it would be prudent to just list the application numbers so that we're clear. It's B0046, those numbers, okay. Go ahead.
Through the chair, I can, if you wish, I can do that. It's, so the consent applications numbers are B0046/21 SC and B0047/21 SC.
So let's deal with these first.
Sure.
Okay. So Member Macaulay, you have the two file numbers as stated. Please go ahead.
Okay. Madam Chair, I recommend approval of consent applications for 5325 Lawrence Avenue East and consent applications for 5323 Lawrence Avenue East. We've already heard the consent file numbers. Subject to the conditions of standard approval, which does include road widening on Lawrence Avenue. I believe the applicant is satisfied with that. And subject to, I've forgotten the wording, the consultation with urban forestry regarding the preservation of the trees.
I
That
would
was
just,
item
sorry,
number 1 in
Member
the
Macaulay,
objection.
I would just say subject to conditions of urban forestry as amended.
Okay, I will take that as a friendly amendment.
Okay. Just so that we're not missing any,
So-
right? So-
Recommend approval.
Okay, so we have approval, subject to conditions of amended conditions of urban forestry, engineering services conditions, and that's it. Okay, so we have dealt with, okay, can I have a seconder, please? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second the motion for approval of consent application B0046/21SC, B0047/21SC, subject to the urban forestry condition as amended and ECS conditions.
All in favor of this motion? Thank you. The motion's carried and the application has been approved. The two applications have been approved. Now we're going to deal with the 4 minor variance applications. And Colin, could you just state the numbers for us, please?
Through the chair, the application numbers are A256/21 SC, A257/21 SC, A0258/21 SC, and A0261/21 SC.
Thank you. So can I have a motion?
I'm not sure why there's a gap in between.
I don't know either, but it's a number. So Member Macaulay, please go ahead. You're muted. Member Macaulay, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is the number in between? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. I think we need to be clear that we have these applications for 5325 Lawrence Avenue East and 5323 Lawrence Avenue East for 4 variances. and that we recommend approval of these 4 variances. The variances only deal with frontage and lot area. They do not impact any other variances for the building permits.
Okay, so,
And I don't believe there's any conditions.
okay, fair enough. May I have a seconder, please? Just, Member Said.
Madam Chair, I second the motion for approval of all these 4 variance applications.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? Motion's carried and the applications have been approved. That brings us to the end of the agenda. Colin, you have something?
Through the chair, just for the committee's information, on items 4 and 5 of the agenda, we have received 2 TLAB appeals since the last hearing at 1161 Kingston Road.
Oh, so sorry. This is other business, right?
Yes, under other
sorry.
business.
Okay, I just want to, I thought that it was something related to the
Oh,
application.
no,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, so all right, so this, I just wanted to make sure that we are at the end of the agenda, no further items? Perfect, okay. Now, under other business.
Okay, sorry about that. So under other business, since the last hearing, we have received 2 TLAB appeals, one for 1161 Kingston Road, a minor variance application, which was refused by committee and appealed by the owner. And the second one was for 42 Cedarview Drive, minor variance application, which was refused by committee and also appealed by the owner. There was also a TLAB decision that was rendered for 11 Brookline minor variance application, which was originally approved by committee, appealed by the owner, and there was a settlement reached between the owner and the city. And the appeal is allowed on revised variances subject to conditions. There was also an OLT appeal, Ontario Land Tribunal appeal, submitted on 1221 Markham Road, a minor variance application. This application was refused by committee and has been appealed by the owner. Thank you.
Colin, just on that one, I wanted to ask, I think we remember this one. It had, I think, like 28 minor variances that it was seeking. I'm just kind of wondering how it got to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Is that because there was a subdivision matter going on as well?
Through the chair, there was an associated
SP.
site plan application. So the applicant appealed the site plan application and then consolidated the minor variance together. So they're going to deal with those together at the OLT.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Was that something that you also wanted to know, Member Macaulay? You had your hand up.
Yes,
Okay.
it was.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other business, Colin? We're good? Okay, all right, members of the committee, thank you very much for your participation today and everyone who attended. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.